Well, Jonas Grews is on the line with us here. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, how are you?
I'm doing smashing, thank you. Now, Jonas is, of course, an independent young artist from Switzerland, and it's kind of interesting, your music, isn't it? Because it's sort of pan flute, right?
Yeah, it's modern pan flute music with a pop twist, I would say.
Yeah, and what made you want to do that kind of music? Because it's perhaps unique.
It's quite unique. I think I wanted to try it out because the pan flute music is here in Switzerland very popular. We have some Romanian influences with Romanian folk music, and for me, that wasn't the music I grew up with. I grew up with pop music, punk music, so I wanted to get this twist into this pan flute music, and that's why I decided to record something brand new and special.
Yeah. And it seems to work. Did you worry at the very beginning that those two things maybe wouldn't match together?
At first, yeah, because it's never been done before. We had some tryouts in the 90s, like the Edward Simonis is for example a very popular European artist who tried this out, but not in the style I would do. And the only thing that was going for me was like my style of playing, because I'm very a loud musician. I play it very loud. I play it very strong, so I can play against a live band, and the pamphlet will pull through. So that was the first, yeah,
Yeah.
the first point where I said, "Oh, maybe it's working."
And here's the ignorant question. Pan flute, is that an instrument or is that some sort of mixture of panpipes and the flute?
It's the same. I think pan flute and pan pipes. I think the first CD I bought with pan flute music on it was called Spirit of Panpipes. So I think it's the same. It's a bamboo instrument with different kind of tubes attached to one another, and that's where the sound comes from.
Yeah. And is it quite hard to play that? Because it always seems like perhaps you could accidentally blow into the wrong part.
That's a thing. I mean, it's quite a nice pop trick. If you have different bottles with different keys, you can play on the bottles, and it's like the same thing. And if you tried it once, you find out that it's very difficult to find the right bottle with the right hole. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you've got this new album of your music called True Colours. So, what kind of stuff is on the album? Is it the same kind of stuff?
The first idea I had with this new album was to pay homage to the 80s.
Yeah.
I grew up with the vinyls of my parents in my ear, and this was always like the soundtrack of my life was the 80s. But then I found myself putting this little Jonas twist on it, which was like more pop-based, more rock-based, and I really wanted to cover songs and do my own spin with it. And in the end, there were also two original songs which I wrote for the first time, some original stuff. And so it became very personal and very new for me, yeah.
Yeah. And would you say there's a particular favourite song that you've got on the album?
My personal favorite is Take On Me by a-ha, which was like one of the first songs I recorded in the studio. For me, that was a safe bet, because I watched a-ha when I was like 15 or 16, and the live energy was just so amazing that I said to myself, like, I want to have this song on my album.
Yeah. And I suppose that's one of the songs that can get people into your music. They might think they don't like panpipes, but hearing a familiar song can get them into it, right?
Yeah, that's the point. Really, I'm trying to do the thing that, I mean, panpipe is very much an instrument which is not very liked by people, I guess, here in Switzerland at least. And so I trying to find something where the people can attach themselves into. And for example, Take On Me from Aha is like, if you like the band, if you like the song, you maybe like also my version. That was the point behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose the thing about panpipes is they're not as mainstream, and you associate them, you only ever hear them by accident most of the time if it's playing somewhere, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, here in Switzerland, it's very popular. The guy, we have once a guy who played at the airport. So if you land in Zurich, there's always one guy playing the pan flute, and it's such a cliche because he's Peruvian, and so he plays the Peruvian stuff, and it's always so funny because you don't associate Switzerland with panpipes, you associate it with like Alphorn or chocolate or cheese, and then you see this Peruvian guy playing the panpipe, which is quite nice.
Yeah. Am I right in saying croissants are actually from Switzerland rather than France as well?
That's a huge topic. I think croissants, like the original one, are from France, but we have something that's called Gipfeli, which is quite the same. It tastes the same. The only thing is it's less buttery. There's less butter in it, and so. Yeah, from the west part of Switzerland, from the French part.
Yeah, and I want to fly to Zurich now to see this guy playing the panpipes. And as well, you're quite young as well. Do you think it's probably less common for a younger person to be into this kind of instrument?
It is. I have many colleagues who play music, who study music in the high school here in Zurich. And the thing is, when I always talk to them and I always like drop the information that I play the pan flute, the first reaction is like, oh, okay. What does that sound like, or stuff like that? And I always show them my music, and it's always a nice surprise because most of the people don't associate this type of music with this type of instrument. So it's always a little bit of a shock if somebody so young plays this instrument, but it's a nice surprise.
Yeah, I suppose it's, exactly as you say, a nice surprise. It's not like, oh, that's weird. It's more like, that's pretty cool, right?
I guess so, yeah. And I always like to collaborate with people. So at one time I played, my best friend, for example, he plays in a band. Yeah. And I played with his band together, and they play like metal music, rock music. And it's also difficult, but you can also combine this instrument with this type of music. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's 12 songs on this album, and I'm just going to go through some of the titles to interest people. We've got Simply the Best, Take On Me, as you mentioned, of course, Earth Song, and this other one, I'm going to try and pronounce it, Jensetz von Eden.
The German one.
Okay, yeah, too far there. Careless Whisper, Faded Memories, Forever Young, Holding Out for a Hero, True Colours, of course, the title of the album, Lectrum, we completely murdered that again, and Midnight Hour, and Purple Rain. There's all sorts of variety there, and as you said at the start, it's about the 80s, isn't it?
Yeah, all of the songs except the two ones I wrote, like Midnight Hour and Faded Memories. Yeah, that's a song. All the others, they are from the 80s, and this whole album is inspired by the 80s. Even the German songs, which you botched the title, these two are also from the 80s. So yeah.
Yeah, my dad grew up in Germany as well, so I've probably just been disowned.
Yes, especially with the Lechstrom. How do you say that?
I can't remember. I think I said Lechstrom or something. Yeah,
it's Leuchtturm.
Oh, that sounds a lot better, doesn't it? Leuchtturm. Yes. Yeah, I like that. And have you got more albums coming out after this one?
Well, this one just dropped like last week, so let's go on with this one for the future. But I hope so. I hope so. I mean, I'm so inspired right now at this point with all the new music and especially with the two new songs. As I said, these are the first songs I wrote by myself, which I'm very proud of. And I'm really looking forward to do this as well in the future. So let's see. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And as well, because it's Panpipes, I take it you don't write lyrics. Would you want to write lyrics in the future for songs?
Um, it's funny that you ask this because when I write songs, I often imagine lyrics attached to it, even though it's for the pan flute. So yeah, why not? Why not? My English is okay, so maybe English lyrics or German ones.
Yeah, your English is better than my German anyway.
We should put our works together, and I write the German lyrics, and you're writing the English lyrics. So.
That's a good idea. Well, where can we find this latest album, True Colors, everywhere?
It's available on Spotify, on iTunes, on Amazon, or you can order it at my website, which is www.jonasgross.com. Yeah.
Great. Well, thanks for coming on the show today. It's been great to have you here.
Thanks for having me on the show.